It's a beautiful Thursday morning. Welcome to another exciting edition of the Camnet Breakfast Show. My name is Marco Kwakoze. It's a program that comes to you every weekdays at exactly 7 hours. We have quite a number of topics that we are looking at today. So we'd like to have an interactive program with you, the viewers. You can go to our Facebook page, Camnet TV, and then go to this particular broadcast and then leave your comments on this broadcast. We'll be more than happy to see what you think about what we are discussing this beautiful morning. As usual, I'm not alone in the studio. I do have my colleague and co-presenter, Patrick Soko. It's a lovely Thursday morning.
Indeed, because it is a lovely Thursday morning. Interesting program we have for our dear viewers as usual, and we are asking an important question: is Parliament living up to the expectation of the people?
Yeah, so we want to get to see what you think about what is transpiring in Parliament. What do you think? Is it living to your expectations, as Patrick has put it? You can go to the Facebook page and leave your question, your contribution as regards your thought on that particular matter. It's the 2nd of November, a new month.
A new month indeed, and new plans, and we have to also keep it positive as usual, making sure that we are optimistic, Cozy. A new month should be able to bring new prospects and new hope, of course.
Okay. So there were a lot of interesting games yesterday, which we are going to talk about, of course, towards the end, but I want your thoughts on the Manchester Newcastle game, 3-0 to Newcastle.
Newcastle won.
Yes.
But it's obvious. It's becoming predictable because I think the other teams are doing a lot, are putting in a lot of effort. So the English Premier League is becoming more competitive. If you see the teams, the way they play, because I think it's now obvious that Manchester now being given the taste of what they used to give others in the past. You know, things tables have turned, and others have an upper hand. Just like I was talking last time when I was looking at the Manchester Derby. The Manchester Derby was always in favor of the Reds, but now it's in favor of the Blue. So it tells you that things are changing, but it's up to Manchester to do the right things. But prior to Eric Ten Hag, they did sack a lot of coaches, and there's speculation.
Ferguson.
Yes, and speculation has started brewing pertaining to the dismissal of the current coach.
So that is about what happened in the Carling Cup yesterday, Carabao Cup rather, yesterday in England. We're going to discuss that in detail a little later on the show. But for now, let's start the show as usual with our health talk. Let's see what the doctors have for us this morning.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Rafat Basit Masa. I'm coming from Medical Women's Association of Zambia, MWAZ, and I'm working in University Teaching Hospital as a general surgeon. It's wonderful to have you back again. We have been talking about burns in the last 3 days. We have talked about introduction, we've talked about the causes of burns, we've talked about the symptoms of burns, we have talked about the treatment of burns. Burns, it's a very, very important topic. As I mentioned earlier on, that we have a lot of children, a lot of adults that we have been receiving who are getting burned, especially in the cold season. They are getting burned more and they are coming to our healthcare. And some of them were losing them, some of them were managing to get them back into their life, though not in full form. So when you are burned, it actually changes your life completely. Remember that your whole life changes. You end up having scars, and you start to feel different from the other people around you, you start to feel depressed, you start to feel sad, you start to feel, why me? But some of these things can be avoided, or especially your children. Imagine a child of yours who has been playing around, who has been going to school, suddenly gets burned and loses all the functions of going to school, being happy again. He's always devastated. He or she is always devastated, crying, irritable, has lost hopes. So we can all avoid by simple steps, by making sure that we are always looking after our children and ourselves. So today we are going to talk about complications of burns. You know, burns has been a very devastating injury worldwide, and a lot of people suffer from it. Complications take place. For example, you get burned. One of the complications are you get big scars. You know, you get big scars. Sometimes you lose function in that hand or leg. That makes your life so difficult for you. Remember that we all want to work, we all want to play, we all want to go to school, we all want to be active, but because you've been burnt before and you cannot move one part of your body, that makes your life very, very difficult. And when you're burnt severely, some of the things which you go through are like your heart starts to fail because you've been burnt so badly. You get severe infection, you get so bad infection, serious infections, that you may not even overcome them. Sometimes we lose those people who actually get deep burns. Some of the complications are inhalation burns. For example, you were in a house and you are sleeping with a candle, which is quite common, and the candle falls on your blanket and you get burnt totally, which you get actually more than 50% burns in your body. So in those cases, you find that you actually inhaled so much of smoke into your lungs that your lungs are now failing, and they are causing so much of difficulties for you to breathe. You end up being in ICU because you are failing to breathe. We need to help you to breathe, you know. So those are complications of getting burns. Some of the burns are also severe anemia. You get loss of blood as you get burned. Remember that those burns have to be always cleaned. Sometimes they have to be taken to theater for cleaning because you're so much in pain. So you find that those burns become so, as you're cleaning those burns, you're making some bleeding to occur. So imagine every day you're bleeding from those burns. You end up with low blood hemoglobin level, then you need to be transfused. Then nutritional support. You find that especially in low income places, you find that you don't have proper nutritional support. You can't afford what needs to be taken for you to get back into your full form. So you find your nutritional support is very, very, very poor, and you end up getting malnourished because of the same burns. So it's also one of the complications of burns. Then you find that you get severe contractures, those contractures where you can't completely function one part of your body because of really hard scar that has been formed. So even in those situations, you find that if you're a person who has been working and you've been using your right hand all the time, and imagine that your right hand has become stiff and you cannot work anymore, that becomes very, very devastating, very, very difficult, and it makes our environment very, very difficult. Sometimes you find that you've been electrocuted. You find your organs have been burnt, and your liver, your stomach have been burnt because of the same electrical shock. Those are very, very difficult burns to handle. So all these things can be avoided. All these things can be avoided just by simple precautions. Just ensure that wherever you are, however you are, you make sure you are protected and you're keeping your children protected as well, because it becomes very, very difficult. And some of the other complications are, you find that your burns are so severe that you will need that part of your body to be cut off completely. So those are also complications of burns. So all these complications of burns can be avoided just by our simple steps. Let's ensure that we help one another not to go into these things. We also have lots of accidents that take place, and you find that people also get burned. They are called friction burns. They also get burned severely. They get burned, they lose their limbs, they lose part of the body, which is also very, very difficult and devastating for our people in our environment. We understand that in the low, especially in the low income families, you find that people can't afford to get a proper stove, and they can't manage to pay a lot of electricity bills. So you find that they end up using braziers. So those braziers are quite, they are quite dangerous especially for children, because you find that you may be cooking and you leave even for 10 minutes, you find a child just finds himself into that pot and completely burned. And you come to our hospital, we do everything for you. Sometimes we lose, every year we are losing a lot of children with these burns, with these deep burns. So these things can simply be avoided. Make sure that when you're cooking in a brazier or something, make sure that you keep away from children, and even yourself, make sure that you should be careful. So these are basically the complications of burns. Sometimes you also have what we call kidney failure, because you've been burned so severely. You are becoming so dehydrated, so much of fluid is coming out from your body because you've been burned, and there's so much fluid you're losing out. So you find that your kidneys also start to dysfunction. They start to lose their function and they end up failing, which is also devastating for you to have kidney failure because of the same burns. Then burns on the face are so devastating because you have lost the look of yourself. Everybody has the right to look beautiful. Everyone has the right to look wonderful, dress up wonderful. This is what we all want. But because of getting burned, you find that sometimes your face, your ears, your nose, everything gets completely distracted, and sometimes you may find that they can never be fixed, because some injuries are so deep that there is nothing much that can be done. So all these things, like I said, can always be avoided. So let's ensure that we avoid injuries to ourselves and to our loved ones. My name's Dr. Rafat Basit Masa. I'm coming from Medical Women's Association of Zambia, MWAZ. Please stay tuned and keep watching Camnet, because every day when you watch something, there's always something that you're always learning. You're learning a lot about healthcare, which we all need to know. They are going to prevent yourselves and your loved ones from getting injured, protect yourself from a lot of complications. Stay tuned with us with Camnet channel, because we'll be every day talking about something different with our channel. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So that is about health talk this morning. Of course, we are talking about burns, and today's weather is a little bit cool, and obviously children would want to sit around the brazier. So just make sure that the kids are kept far away from the braziers and the heaters, so that you don't get to experience the headache of going to hospitals with burns. So that was today's health corner. We are moving on now. Let's quickly look at how the Kwacha is performing against other major convertibles this morning, the 2nd of November 2023. As you may be aware that these rates may vary from bureau to bureau. but today the British pound, the Great British Pound, is buying for 26.56 and selling for 27.08, and the euro is buying for 23.10 and selling for 23.56. The South African rand is buying for 118 and selling for 120, and the US dollar is buying for 21.95 and selling for 22.38. So those are the rates for today as updated at 07:45 today, the 2nd of November 2023. So that is how the kwacha is performing against other major convertibles. So if you are in the issue of foreign exchange, those are your rates for the morning. We now move on. Patrick.
Indeed, we have to move on the breakfast show, and interesting enough, we have seen how the kwacha is performing, and it has been ranging between 21 and 22 kwacha, hoping that it will get better. We understand that the financial the institutions such as the Bank of Zambia and the Ministry of Finance are putting in place a mechanism to make sure that the currency is stabilized, given that it is their mandate to ensure that we have a stable currency. And we have had a lot of assurances from the Bank of Zambia governor as well as the finance minister, Dr. Stumbeko Musokotwane, hoping that things will get better, because the kwacha is an important economic determinant, and hoping things to improve. So now, moving on the program, we have in studio someone who's going to help us discuss issues pertaining to the reading culture. Talking about the reading culture, how interested are you in terms of reading? How often do you get a book to just read? And to help us discuss this, we have Major Chilumba, who is going to help us discuss this. He is an author. Welcome to the program.
Well, pleasure is mine. Thank you so much.
We are glad that we could host you. I was just talking to Kozi because I was asking him to say, how often do you get a book to read?
Mm-hmm.
Because every time Kozi, I see him on his phone, and most of the times when he looks at me, he's smiling. He's just seen something funny. I'm just wondering to say,
I read books from your phone.
Yeah, so I wonder whether he reads books for comedians, but every time I see him, he should be watching Akola Kanseko. So that has been my concern. But now, moving on, we want to just get your perspective. First of all, we might, this is the first time Koz and I are hosting you. You've been here before, exactly. But we are, just like we are hosting you for the first time, there are also viewers who may be hosting you, who are watching you for the first time. They want to know who is Chilumba, and where did the journey begin in terms of writing?
Right, yeah. Fine. Major Oscar Chilumba is a young charismatic leader. I think I started my journey of writing books when I was in grade 9. My performance was so bad. So I think I remember where at the break time, one of my classmates sat me down, we should do fine. Taught me to say, Major, do you know that you can do fine? In class by then. So I've written some quite number of books. One of my books is called Understanding Divorce, Why Men Cheat, Dangers of Gossiping, and I've also come up with a book called Believing in Yourself. This is a book that I've done pertaining to my personal life and all. Like, I've quitted school before. I've ventured. When I quitted school, I went to venture into early marriage. I involved myself in an early marriage. So what used to happen was
when you say early marriage, how old were you then?
I married when I was somewhere 19. And where I was, by then I was somewhere, I don't know, it's grade 11, 12, somewhere there. So that's why I got myself into this early marriage. So people could mock at me, laugh at me, and I sat myself down, and people would be like, guys, anakwati anakana school, and I turned into a laughing stock. Everyone could laugh at me. I thought it's the end of my life and all. So not until I encouraged myself to say I have more to do and I can still do more on my life. So I went back to school. I started my school again at Chineka Secondary School somewhere there in Kanyama. So that's why I did my grade 12. And here I am. I have a story to tell.
Indeed, you have a story to tell. And just my follow-up question would be, first of all, what does it take for us? Why do we need to improve the reading culture? Why do we need to embrace the reading culture?
Wonderful. Of late, the reading culture, let me just say in Africa, not Zambia, the reading culture has been bad. Okay, so a lot of youths prefer music, comedy, and all. If you want to hide money to an African man, okay, put money in the book and say, read, finish all this story. You will think as if you're oppressing that person or you're putting that person in self-prison. So a lot of people, they don't lead. Okay, so they don't lead. But I'm quite impressed. Ministry of Education has introduced a lot of factors that would make one be a good leader. You find that in our generation, you find that a person is in grade 12 but he doesn't know how to read, and people would be like, baby, he would know how to read and all. But there are factors that one can contribute to be maybe a good leader and all. So one thing that I've discovered that this starts from your home as parent. So as a parent, you can play a part that can make your child to be a good leader. Even in schools, if we can put some certain implementations like reading time, we give we come up with maybe a certain time where pupils would start leading. I've encountered people in universities. You find that someone is doing his second year but he doesn't know how to speak English well, or he doesn't know how to read well, so it's somehow shameful. You find that one would text you, would write messages, SMS, right? So I understand. So these are the things that is killing the leading culture in Zambia.
Yeah, indeed, and you are right. You are right when we talk about that. But as parents, it starts from home, like you said. As parents, first of all, what responsibility do we have to make sure that how do we encourage, what have you identified as some of the ways we can be encouraging children in terms of sparing time? Because most of the time schools always uses an excuse to say nearly busy, nearly kunchito, and all those excuses, you understand. But how can you, within some few spare time, try to make a difference, especially at your household level?
So one thing that a parent has a law to guide his or her child or children. So one, by checking on the child. So you find that here you are a parent and it has taken you maybe we are closing a year. You've never touched your child's books. You don't know what is he or she is doing at school and all like that. So it's very, very important to make a follow-up, because you need to begin making follow-ups to say, how is my child doing? Then the other thing that can help you being a parent is if you've not been to school, okay, try by all means your wishes, all that you had wished when you said, I wish if I had finished the school and all, invest it in your child, invest it in your daughter, your son and all. One thing that I've researched and known is that if you've not been educated up to that level, you cannot, there are very few people that put in measures to make their children educate up to that level. So if they tell you to say, no, school fees is 1,000, you'll be like, I can't sing and so school, see ya. Check when down once and all like that, you understand? So one thing, we parents, we've lost that sacrificial level where we need to sacrifice for our children. So for one to be a good leader, one needs to start from the home, okay, where you stay. Okay, do you have time to read magazines, novel and all? Or you find that every time you're just on Facebook, you're just on Instagram, checking if Diamond has a new song or what, checking if Yo Maps has released a new song and all like that. So these are the things that we parents need to play a lot. Secondly, the society. Like I was impressed when I was reading this article for how government has introduced free libraries, and it's coming in different districts. We've got Copperbelt, Lusaka. They are free libraries, and how I wish we can also introduce free internet on libraries so that the society, the community can have access to free libraries. This will improve our reading culture. Yeah.
You have written quite a number of books.
Exactly.
What are some of the challenges that you faced during the production of these particular books?
Fine. Some of the challenges that I encountered when I was authoring my books, one, a lot of, I think I'll put it wide so that even those seeking to write books can learn from this. A lot face financial support. There are a lot that have books within them, but they've just packed. They don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. They don't know where to start from. But they just write to themselves and pack and all. So first challenge when I authored my book when I was in grade 9, I authored this book to myself. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know where to go to the media, where I would start from and all. So a lot of authors face what we call self-exposure. Okay, they don't know, they don't have anyone to expose them to whatever they would do. Then secondly, you know, in Zambia, as in Africa, people, they don't read. They will just see to say, oh, this is the book, and they will not take in any advancement on that. So a lot of authors face financial support, and then physical support. To be like, the book, and all. So a lot of authors also they get demoralized with what they write and all like that. So there's that need of encouragement. We just opened Listen Writers Association of Zambia, where if you're an author, Ministry of Youth and Sports has introduced a department of art where it's supporting art, people that write. People that would write magazines and all. There are companies that would that have come on board that would support people who are writers. So I believe by 2, 3, 4 years from now, I think this art industry will develop and grow.
Do you think that this industry is an industry that one can venture into and make an ends survive from it?
So, well, I would say yes. But you being an author, you don't write for you to earn ends meet in it. You write to educate. You write to you write. No wonder if you want to come up with a book, write something that you say okay, the society are into this, or the society will definitely, my book will definitely trend. So you don't write just maybe from nowhere. You don't know, people don't understand just because you have whatever. So you need to write something that when Mr. Cause see to be like, wow, I think I can go for it. I think I can read this and all like that. I think a school somewhere can call me to give a motivation talk and like that. So we writers, or you being a writer, first thing you need to be creative. So as you say you want to write up something, how creative are you that can convince one watching there to say, okay, I think I would need your book, okay, I think I would need this, that. So you need to be creative. There's that creativeness that must be new. For instance, when I sit down, I came up with a book called Why Men Cheat? Why do men cheat? So I sat myself down. I cannot say that I've never cheated before, you get. So I started researching why do men cheat, what causes men to cheat. Those are one of the books that I've authored. I came again to I sat myself down. I was like, okay, what's my next project? I have to write, okay, understanding divorce. Okay, understanding divorce, why there's this divorce and all. I sat myself down. I'm coming from a family where mom and dad divorced when I was somewhere grade 7. Then later on, as I grew up, I ventured into divorce. I passed through divorce. So I sat myself down to say, okay, fine, I must have a story to tell on divorce, understanding divorce. I started understanding why do young couples venture into divorce. I've encountered people got a loan to do a wedding and now he's still paying a loan, but then he's divorced. You understand? So these are the things we writers put together to educate the society about these books that we write. We don't just write from without, but we write when the information reaches one, I think it changes. We transform lives through teaching. So it's let me coming back to your question. I don't say you write to make ends meet. No, you write to educate. You write to empower to the society. Exactly.
But is there a possibility that can also translate into empowerment?
Exactly. When I write a book, like for example, on my case, when I write something, you need to write with a mandate. Okay, what mandate do you have? Okay, fine. I need to write maybe to like believing in yourself. Like this book, that I'll be launching on 25 to say, it's started to say believing in yourself. So you need to attract the audience. So it's a book that to those that have failed before, have divorced before, those that have feel life it's the end for them, those that have lost their jobs today. Okay, how do you believe in yourself that you still make it again? How have you made you've lost in ministry, you've lost everything, maybe your house was gutted with fire, or you had an accident, the doctor just from telling you to say you will never walk again. So now
Because needs that book.
So now how are you going to pick yourself up and go? So this is a book that will motivate one, even if you are in a situation you feel when you cry it's a solution. You are maybe in a situation if you beat someone, that will be the solution. Maybe you are thinking of getting doomed, you are thinking of maybe killing yourself, you are thinking of relocating, going to the village, you are thinking of maybe to say so connection is in heaven on Mr. Cause, and now it's normal, I will never see him anymore and all like that. No, there is hope for you. Okay, there is hope for you. Get this book and your life will no longer be the same.
And I want to just chip in to just find out, first of all, your contribution towards the writing industry, because me, I'm a journalist, he's a journalist. Most of us here at Camnet are journalists, but we hardly take time to say we write a book, okay, or you write a book, or you write something, they say something like at lengthy, like you people do. But we are also we are supposed to be doing that, because writing is also our business.
Right, yeah.
That's what our business. But how would you encourage someone like Cause who's hesitant and failing to write a book, even about journalism? Because at the end of the day, we have generations who have to come, and what literature are they going to find? Where do you start from when you want to start writing? What sort of
things that you need to put in place? And
yes.
like, okay, first thing, have time for yourself. Okay, if you want to be a competent book writer, you need to have time for yourself. Then secondly, read books of others. Okay, don't just read books of yourself. No, read books of others. Read novels, read magazines. Okay, read books that are pertaining to what you'd want to write. For example, you want to write maybe about child marriage. I've written a book called Child Marriages because I married when I was young. So I started, reading novels about child marriage. How has it affected? What's the implication of marrying early, and what's forth and so on, like so you need to start reading. As you read now, you start getting ideas. Any book you need to read, we get ideas on it. You don't write exactly what Mr. Cause wrote in his book or in his article. No, it's the Wasami manga, you understand that?
Yes,
So you understand, you need to get idea. Get idea of what others have done, and so forth and so on. You be then lastly, as you give yourself time, research more about what you want. What is, maybe come up with a book title. There are a lot of, like, for example, you maybe being a journalist, you can write something like, let me open your mind. You can write something like a documentary about maybe Michael Sata and Edgar Lungu, about the PF, these wrangles that are coming in. So how are you going to tell the next generation that, okay, from Sata to Edgar Lungu, there was this wrangle of maybe when the mouse sampa, it ended this way, and so now you need now to go back to the PF history and start writing to say, okay, how was it formed? Okay, the origin, and in history we had the origin, the expansion, and the decline. So you start the next generation. You being a journalist, we take that book maybe to the museum. You take that book maybe to these ministries. That will guide. Okay, because these things comes in an exam. Minister of Education in their library will buy the book to say, okay, fine, this political whatever, you take it to Hunza. It will help these upcoming politicians to say, okay, this mistake, I cannot do that mistake, what, like that. So that will grow the image or the level of your journalism career in your life.
I think next year you'll be coming to my book launch. So, just before we let you go, do you have any word of advice? And what should people look out for you in terms of what you are working on?
Okay, fine. I'm on Facebook. If you're watching me, you can go to my Facebook page called Oscar Major Chilumba. You write me a message if you want to be part of the book launch. You can also WhatsApp me on this line, 0962 14 23 05. That's my personal WhatsApp line. And my word of encouragement to those that want to author books, those that want to venture into book writing, is have time for yourself. Don't get discouraged in whatever you're going through. Each day write something. Okay, regardless you are tired, you just want to talk on phone or whatever, find time to write something about what you want to write, and that will improve. Each day you write gets you closer to your destination and otherwise. Thank you so much for having me. It was my pleasure. Thank you. I'm humbled.
Thank you, and we hope to have more conversations with you pertaining to the art industry, and these are subjects we hardly discuss, of course, and we are glad that you managed to honor our invitation to just be part of this program. Now, moving on, we have to, before we let our guest go, we'll look at a story where a governance expert has challenged civil society organizations claiming a shrinking democratic space in the country to provide evidence. Recently, a group of CSOs led by Chapter 1 Foundation highlighted that the arrest of opposition political parties leaders, among others, is an evidence of the shrinking democratic space in the country. Speaking during a press conference in Lusaka Wednesday, Sakwindi Situla, however, said that the move by CSOs is baffling, urging them to use their voices wisely to avoid enjoying themselves to unsubstantiated claims of the opposition political parties in the country. So now let's have a look at this story. We'll be back on the other side. Keep it on Camnet TV, not just another channel.
23, a day after Independence Day, the Zambian Police Service forced its way into the home of Patriots for Economic Progress, PEP President Sean Tembo.
The assertions by a group of civil society organizations, CSOs, recently claiming a shrinking democratic space in the country, have not sat well with the Lusaka-based governance expert, Sakwindi Situla. Following the continued scuffle between the governing United Party for National Development, UPND, and some opposition leaders, the CSOs have accused government of undermining democratic principles in the country. Speaking during a press conference Wednesday, Mr. Situla has however challenged the CSOs to provide evidence over their claims.
Democracy means the full application of the law, unselected. And when that happens, we must all bear, this witness that our constitution is being respected and everybody else is going to be protected regardless of who they are. That is what is under pursuit in this country. And for as long as that is taking place, you can't then start saying there's a shrinking, democratic space. How? How is that so?
Mr. Situla is of the view that the failure by the CSOs to provide evidence, it may be termed that they are colluding with some opposition political parties to discredit government.
Every time you are hearing the opposition say something in that regard, it's echoed by a few civil society organizations. When these civil society organizations say something, it's echoed by the opposition. Meantime, when you check the facts, they are not there. That is where the problem is. And we want the civil society organizations to do their role and work with the government of the day. But we don't expect them to be agreeing with the government. But where they don't agree with the government, let them raise the facts as they are and spell them.
Zambia is experiencing a politically charged environment with a number of opposition leaders appearing at courts. The situation in recent days has deepened with the leadership wrangles in the former ruling party, the Patriotic Front PF, which have been blamed on government by some stakeholders. For Camnet News, Afias Kaptula, Lusaka.
Welcome back. That was an interesting story there from Mr. Situla, claiming that the opposition, the civil society organizations are just dining with the opposition and that they should work with the government of the day.
Yeah.
But I think, I don't know if it did took time to get the the basis of it which civil society organizations we are talking about. I don't think so. But the civil society organizations also claimed they were documenting evidence, but it was challenging them that they should be actually providing evidence, because whatever they are saying is non-existent. That's according to him.
But you see that the opposition political parties have always complained about the arrests, and also complained about their being blocked from holding public rallies and stuff like that. So maybe that is where this argument comes from, and for somebody to just brush it aside and seem to see nothing like that. It tends to make you wonder.
Yeah, exactly. Because sometimes the other thing is that we understand that some opposition political parties have been actually calling for the attention of the police. You and I know for that fact.
Sure.
But however, sometimes the matter in which the manner of arrest is something that has also raised concern.
Sure.
But in upholding the rule of law, the police in some instances have been within their mandate. But in some instances they have been extreme. I hope you are getting what I'm trying to interpret. But however, he's entitled to his opinion. That's like every time we on Camnet TV, we endeavor to respect people's opinions. And what we do is just analyze both aspects, the pros and cons, and then let the people make the decision on their own. So that's the story we were looking at. But in case you want to join the conversation right about now, you can do so, and let's get interacting. You can also call us and get interacting with us, so that we hear your perspective on the Camnet Breakfast Show regarding some of the stories that we are looking at. We're also looking at issues bordering on Parliament, Cozy. And let's have a look at other stories. And we also have a story where embattled leader of the opposition in Parliament, Brian Munduvile, sued the Registrar of Societies, Mao Sampa and Morgan Ngona, seeking a declaration that the Opposition Patriotic Front Extraordinary Conference held on the 24th of October 2023 is illegal. Mr. Munduvile is in his statement of claims indicates that the election of Mao Sampa as a PF president and appointment of Morgan Ngona as Secretary General is now and void on grounds that the material lawmaker was expelled from the party. Among the reliefs the Mpolokoso lawmaker is seeking is that the consideration that the changes made to the office bearers of PF at the Registrar of Societies are now and void, and a restraining order be issued to Mao Sampa and Mr. Ngona from occupying the position of President and Secretary General, respectively. So let's have a look at this story. We'll be back on the other side.
The judiciary has been put to test as the rivalry of PF camps continues to emerge after Material Member of Parliament Mao Sampa pulled what has been regarded as a quick political convention on 24th October 2023. Embattled leader of opposition in Parliament Brian Munduvile has sued the Registrar of Societies Mao Sampa and Morgan Ngona, seeking a declaration that the Opposition Patriotic Front Convention held on the 24th October is illegal. Mr. Munduvile has sued Mr. Mao Sampa as the second defendant, Morgan Ngona, and the Registrar of Societies as the third and fourth defendants. The petitioner is seeking a declaration that the first defendant, Raphael Nakachinda, is the duly appointed Secretary General of the Opposition Patriotic Front, not Morgan Ngona, and that Mao Sampa was expelled and is no longer a member of the party. In the statement of claims filed before the court, the Mpolokoso lawmaker is also seeking a declaration that the convention or conference allegedly held on behalf of the PF, declaring Mao Sampa as elected president of the party, now and void. He also wants a declaration that all decisions, orders, statements and correspondence issued by Mr. Sampa and Mr. Ngona and the changes made to the office bearers of PF at the Registrar of Societies be now and void. Mr. Munduvile argues that the action by Mr. Sampa and Mr. Ngona violates the PF constitution, as it requires that for a general conference to be held, the Central Committee must summon such a meeting. He also argues that there was no electoral commission appointed in accordance with Article 64 and 65 of the party constitution and non-compliance with Regulation 67 and 68 of the party constitution, which requires that such a meeting be called by the Central Committee, the Mporokoso MP also seeks a restraining order for Mr. Sampa, Mr. Ngona and their affiliates to stop occupying the position of President and Secretary General of the party respectively. The matter has been adjourned to 2nd November 2023 at 17 hours. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Welcome back. There you have it, Cozy. We continue to see events unfold in the PF. I don't know how many lawsuits we're going to have by the end of this month.
It is interesting. The developments in the PF are very, very interesting because, firstly, there's some section of the party that thinks that the convention that was held on the 24th was not legal. Because a convention must have a backing of the NEC, and there was no backing of the NEC as regards that particular convention. But what is making it more interesting is that the convention was declared legal, and we hear now that they even want to change the names of office bearers at the Registrar of Society. So these are interesting developments.
The names have been changed, actually.
The names have been changed at the Registrar of Society. So these are interesting developments in the once upon a time ruling Patriotic Front. So it's good that we hear from what the viewers out there think as regards what is transpiring in the Patriotic Front. And of course, yesterday there was a very interesting happenings at Parliament, and we have a story that says tension erupted in Parliament as Speaker of the National Assembly Nelly Muti ruled that Mao Samba was in order to remain in Parliament despite being expelled from the Patriotic Front. Now, on Thursday, 26th of October 2023, Pambashe Constituency Member of Parliament Ronald Chitotela stood on a point of order to find out why Material Constituency Member of Parliament Mao Samba was in the House despite being expelled from the party for indiscipline. And in her ruling, the Speaker explained that the interpretation of a constitution is a preserve of the judiciary. Let's have a look at this.
Wednesday, 1st November 2023, the Zambian parliament was tense as the rivalry between the Patriotic Front, Edgar Lungu, and Mao Sampa camps continues to widen. Before business could commence, Luapula constituency member of parliament, Chanda Katotowe, was in a near punch-up with PF President-elect Mao Sampa. Mr. Katotowe was compelled to leave the House by the Speaker of the National Assembly, Nelly Muti.
Honorable member for Luapula, leave the House now. Turn to the left, go this way. Turn this way. Walk. Can you walk and leave the House?
Moving on, the Speaker began by rendering ruling in a matter where Pambashe Constituency Member of Parliament, Ronald Chitotela, on the 26th of October 2023, raised a point of order challenging why Matelo Constituency Member of Parliament, Mao Sampa, was in the House despite being expelled from the party. And in a ruling, the Speaker stressed that Mr. Sampa was in order to enjoy the benefits of a parliamentarian as the interpretation of the matter is a preserve of the court.
Here indicated by the Constitutional Court in the Chishimba Kambwili case, the interpretation of the Constitution is a function of the courts. In view of the foregoing, I do not have the jurisdiction to do that. I thank you.
But this did not sit well with PF members who continued to raise concern with Shuangandu constituency lawmaker Stephen Kampyongo and his Kamfisa constituency counterpart Christopher Kangombe challenging the decision.
Under Article 74(2) of the Constitution, the opposition party with the largest number of seats in the House shall elect a leader of opposition from amongst its members of the opposition party. And therefore, Madam Speaker, in line with this, on behalf of my colleagues, we have netted this election to give effect to that announcement you have made.
Order,
and therefore, we don't recognize it.
Order. Honorable Member for Shuangandu, please. Can you please take your seat? Reference to the matters that you earlier mentioned. You may proceed.
Well, Madam Speaker, I was basically building a point leading to my urgent matter. And like I indicated, I quoted two provisions.
Oh, I've guided, Honorable Member. Proceed and state your issue.
Madam Speaker, there's a way in which I would want to raise the point.
Honorable Member for Kamfinsa, I've guided. I have guided.
This is a democratic country, Madam Speaker. We should be allowed to speak. We should be allowed to speak. Madam Speaker, why are you preventing me from speaking? This is our country. We all belong to this country.
Honorable
we should be allowed to.
With the growing tension, the Speaker was forced to suspend business for 10 minutes.
Order, order, Honorable Member. Honorable Member for Kamfinsa, out. Can you leave the House? Leave the House now. The Sergeant at Arms, can you make sure that you clear the House? Clear the House. Security, please, can you help clear the House?
Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
I advised earlier, can we maintain order and respect ourselves? If you want to go and fight, you can go and fight outside, not in the House. I will not allow that.
So that's what transpired in Parliament yesterday. Interesting developments there.
Indeed, interesting developments. We saw that that MP wanted to assault his president.
Yeah. What did you say? Did you say he's president?
According to how this thing stand.
Yeah. But they have refused to recognize him as president. In fact,
but you're just from telling me that the registrar of society has actually
no, I'm speaking from
has actually gotten the names that are existing at the registrar of society are those of Mosamba as president.
Yes.
And the court has said for now he should be recognized as as PF president.
I'm speaking from the I'm trying to put on the shoes of that particular faction of the PF.
Yes.
They refused to recognize Mao Sampa as president of the party. In fact, they expelled Mao Sampa. So to them, Mao Sampa is not even a member of the Patriotic Front.
It's a delicate situation. I don't know where this will end, but because if you ask me, it's quite a delicate situation.
It's very delicate and it's very interesting, but let's get to hear what the viewers are thinking. We have a caller on the line. Hello, good morning.
Hello,
I'm quite Mwabomba Shan.
Bakafwa, go ahead and give us your thoughts.
I think we have gotten it as though the line was pretty bad.
Yeah. I struggled to hear what you were saying.
I struggled. I tried to, but I struggled. But you can also call us and give us your perspective on the issues we are looking at. And looking at the events unfolding pertaining to the PF, is that inspiring to the country's democracy? And also looking at what is happening in Parliament, it seems to be in disarray. If you look at the disorganization that was there yesterday, a lot of confusion, tension, and near punch-up. And like I was explaining there, they were pointing each fingers to Mao Sampa, who's who's the president of the party now, as things stand. You know, and you know, and I can only imagine what is going through the minds of members of parliament. Let's pick this call. You are through to the Camnet Breakfast Show. Good morning.
Morning, how are you?
Fine, and how are you?
You are fine.
Your name and where you are calling us from, madam?
I'm calling from Sowezi.
Sowezi. Good to know that Sowezi is following.
No, I want to contribute for the program.
Yes, you can go ahead, madam.
In a name of your program, with a prayer parliament. The opposition was president, but they are going to remove parliament to MP. It's not good. But we have a Kavana, but they say that never now than the parliament, not the president, the opposition, but they are going to remove. Balalandesh, Ramau Samba. Tarafi never present to home parliament. Because you don't have an about special interact na ruling party. Then again, Mrs. Speaker, Tarafi never shut up. I'm out position. Papa special debate was the Munan parliament. Never let Kavalanda, but the debate point to the Walamia, but the debate not even mother and make a vacanza. Not every time Mutunga Landa. Shut up, Sakwala, I feel very station. Nobody does see, like, for example, when like I'm a Kituzi, but it's a movie education. Bala Stashani, Bala Satan concept movie, even some balance, like, for example, question here is a school. Bala Stashani is for the van. So, topic here, I'm parliament. Musa studies Omoyaga. Abana was starting from grade 1 up to grade 7, not grade 8 up to grade 2. If you're not young, no Bana Sandila Shani. Banetana Nabale Sandila. No Bana Nabala de Norangas. You better the point here and deliver Bali Kanya. That order. Every time we order. As we need to win. Nabana not what they come out of a day, but we never know what a concept that is to go. If you are under Valudin, Abanavo the opposition in the Vascan, but we never under the punishment. That's just a clear speaker. Who then go away from the child we run about quality side?
Tasha, thank you.
Tomorrow, as we need peace in Zambia. Not to the tax kitchen parliament, Ramau Samba go to parliament, the very time about the state that Kavadi is a passing
Tasha. Thank you very much. A female voice, Kozi. Yeah. Wondering why the president is also amidst the members of parliament. It's quite a delicate. That's why I was telling you that it's delicate, because
it's not the first time that we've seen a leader of a political party in parliament. The one who came in mind quickly, as he said, that is Charles Milupi. He was president of his political party when he was in parliament. Also, Chimba Kambwili also, and you see. I think that she has a point when she says that we must express ourselves. So I think those people that go to parliament to go and represent the people that they live in their constituencies. So they must be given an opportunity to express themselves. But one thing you must learn is that parliament has its own rules and regulations. But before I continue, we have another caller. Hello, good morning. Nwandani mutumira kuti? Nwandani abo?
Ati vandani zina?
Ya Catherine Banda.
Va Catherine mungakambeko naimu.
Wete titamba kubateni kikuta ikume wasana mani mbali kuodanga kibali kujawili. Nani bali mbele kati kama tongo toko soma bilo bambanda So nataka kuna hoja kwa maganda tunalipindana. Olo nakaya kijani kwa hapa kuja wale tunalipindana na tunapokea kwani sahihi. Kwa sababu yake sababu ni songo. Kwa sababu ya kufungo, baadaye la ile na ile strike ni songo. Basi nataka nipende na kujataja ni kipo wenda. So, ndio nataka ndio kwa
Zikomo.
Zikomo kwambili.
Yeah, Taamika.
Another female voice.
Another female voice. They are concerned that attention is not necessary. They want peace to reign.
Usually when there is commotion, it's usually the women and children that suffer. So it's good that they are voicing out and trying to ensure that we remain peaceful as a country. It's a good thing. We continue to take your calls on the numbers that are on the screens. Alternatively, you can go to our Facebook page, which is Camnet TV, and then leave your contributions there. I will be more than happy to hear what you think about what we are discussing this beautiful Thursday morning. Do you have any more stories?
Yeah, while we are still waiting for a story, there's also another story that we had yesterday where OSIDA, you know, this is an organization of senior citizens and those veteran governance activists, experts. It is quite an instrumental organization. Before we look at that, let's pick this call. You are through to the Camnet Breakfast Show. Good morning. Mkwai mwashubuka shani. Tulirandana banani nikwisa kulwansha awe kuti mwakonkanyapo mutipere kwa amatontonkanyo yenu chibemba chandi. I don't know if it is fine. Tuatasha, thank you very much for your concerns, and we are still getting your calls on the number that we are putting on your screens so that we get your perspective pertaining to the developments in Parliament. And we understand that Parliament, as one of the three arms of government, is critical in providing solutions to the country, especially when it comes to debating laws and also what we should do for the country. And representing various constituencies, Parliament is quite instrumental in that score. But if we are continuing to see such tension and differences, how do then these members of Parliament effectively represent the people? No wonder we are asking, is Parliament living up to your expectation? Because we send these people to go and represent us and make sure that they champion the things that people want to see. Now let's pick this call. Hello, you are through to the Camnet Breakfast Show. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Fine, thank you. And how are you? Your name and where you are calling us from?
Okay, I'm calling. This is Chilufia.
Mr. Chilufia, you can go ahead with your contribution.
Thank you.
You are free.
Express myself.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. On the issue of the I think government affiliation of the Wabumbera So even those who are appointed by the president as minister, they should know they are there because of people. They are not waiting themselves deny other people actually them. So Parliament, I think what Parliament today better, I can tell you that even there, the opposition, but then when what by 19, but the ruling then they high because then they can court and nail get what they can because they but those victims that she's there because she's supposed to respect the constitution and at the age of whatever. So if those two that were in the constitution regulation, when we come to that, we should follow that you in and you follow the social have that right. So meaning, even in the PDF constitution, that constitution is mediated to the society, to the same party. So those people change that constitution to the big also follow the party. So my main point is that people are mine, and I can tell you from Democrats that go down, we instead people fighting party because those by asking you present us I'm telling you it's a day that making the president shouldn't sit down on the root that penny. Because if that they don't follow. If anything happens, I'm telling you some of them they are quite not happy because they respect law. So please, we pray that please help you to guide these to bring reality and issues so that the next restore that is the way for 1964. Please, Zambia is a Christian. We are brothers, wives. This time, UPND, all kind one another.
Okay, I think
that means we could have people replace our.
Okay, I think we've gotten the point, but the line was started fluctuating becoming very badly. And let's make sure that we are seated at a very good position where there's good network, and make sure that your phone is close to the mouth so that your words are we are able to get every word, because your perspectives are important. So others have also to get your opinion. It will be difficult for people to pick what you are saying if you are far from the microphone of your phone. So. But do we have some comments on Facebook? Colin?
Sure, we do have quite a number of them that have come through. Ezekiel Chiwa says he's watching us from Chipata. Thank you very much, Ezekiel. Josephat Chisunka says, why was he not allowed to speak? I think he's referring to Christopher, the Kampisa Member of Parliament, Christopher Kangombe, in that news clip that we did air earlier on. So he says, why was it not allowed to speak? And then Joseph Silwembe Jr. says, Madam Speaker, uyu tachamulinga okuba speaker, because from what I know, she is not educated. Thank you very much, Mr. Silwembe. We appreciate your thought. Vincent Piri is watching us from Vubwi, and Sichamba Maxwell says, Bushechinshi HH akoserera sana PF. Awe uyuwena na lungu awamapo. That is Maxwell Sichembe also giving us his thought there as regards what we are discussing this beautiful morning. You can also give us your thoughts. Go to our Facebook page and then leave your comments there. We have another caller. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Yes, who are we talking to, and where are you calling us from, sir?
I'm calling from Livingston. I'm King James of Livingston.
Okay, all right. You can go ahead with your contribution, sir.
Yeah. Let me start by saying this.
Mm-hmm.
It won't help this country if we people in this country, we can just tell the truth. If somebody is wrong, is wrong. You see, what happened in Parliament yesterday, it was a solid question. And it's not only yesterday. Oh, since the PF was based in the opposition, they were not debating accordingly. They wanted to see, to show the people that they know more than the speaker. You see, this is the problem which we have. You see, if we want this country to go ahead, we must stop to this nonsense of emotion. Even me, I don't want to be emotional. If I will not have this nonsense, I must stop it. So what is supposed to be done is that let's debate the parliament accordingly. Those are called the honorable members. But they carry a different name. So it depends for them to be in opposition. The student has been in opposition for a long time. You saw how they were debating in parliament. But the opposite thing is this, they were testing, the parliament was controlling them. And today it is the same. But just because they use the many.
Oh, sad, but I was heading somewhere. He was explaining a point there. We still managed to get what he wanted to put across. And we are still getting your comments on the topic of discussion. We are looking at Parliament. Is it living up to expectations? Because we are also following from events of yesterday where we saw tension in Parliament. And this has been like this, especially in recent days, especially those from the left side of the of Parliament. So we hope that these will be ironed out as soon as possible, so that we should have business progressing according, because you know what, because they're supposed to be actually be debating the budget. The budget they hasn't yet been approved.
Yes, actually, I was going to say that I think the attention is being diverted.
Yes.
What should have been the talk of a discussion in Parliament is the budget, national budget. I think that they are still debating the budget. The budget has not yet been approved. The attention should not be diverted. But let's get a call.
You are through to the Camnet Breakfast Show. Good morning. Bueno, tikamba na vandani nikuti huko.
Mukamba na wachiwa kukaulembe.
Vachirwa mungapitirize mungakambeko naye mutimvereko ndemanga yanu.
Ndemanga yanu gane kukamba kone akuti mailo tanesi parliament to kusapodeleza mchitu pamene singapweleze ngondo. Kozi litaki uja muntu wane wanataka ilindo opposition. Si muntu akuti oyendelera akuti agakale musogoleri mu parliament. So niona kuti soro bafuka pamene vanatsinda speaker kana chete torongosola speaker because pembe vanalandire uja muntu kuti vamu accept mu parliament kuti akale leader of opposition. So niona kuti palipo ipupu somewhere. So boma itaka kuti zinthu zidika bwino otati kukuleta msokonezo mchifani chaki so alikindezane zinga kabe kwa sokolezo
yawe taonga.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Thank you very much. You too can give us your perspective, and we are getting calls from across the country, Kozi.
Sure, we are getting calls from across the country. So if you want to make a contribution, the numbers are on your screens. Just pick up your phone and dial those particular numbers. We'll be more than happy to hear what you think. And also, if you do not have talk time in your phone, but you have bundles, you can go to our Facebook page and leave your contribution on this particular broadcast. We'll be more than happy to see what you think. We are discussing the issue of Parliament. Do you think that it is living to your expectation as regards the happenings in that house? Patrick Soko had brought up an issue of the discussions that should be taking shape in Parliament now, is that of debating the national budget. We have another caller on the line. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Your name and where you're calling us from?
My name is
Please go ahead, son, give us your thought.
Yes, for me, I think the happening, looking at what is happening here, I just want to be like a patriotic Zambian. I feel like the way the parliamentarians are discussing their judgment, ethics, the approach is not healthy for the country, because when you look at the wrangles that are happening in the PF, I believe if you look at the numbers, sometimes the numbers they can tell you to say, no, what's happening is not right. Look at the camp. There are about 47 MPs, and we are seeing in the media, they did that later, put all the signatures saying we do not recognize the Chavinga and the group, and Chavinga don't know if they are dead, but you find that all that the camps, they've been writing to Parliament to tell them to say, look, we do not recognize this, we want this to be expelled. Everything that is coming from their side is just being shut down, but it's just so much, strength on the Mount camp, which is not right, because by the end of the day, everything is in the public domain. We're watching the Parliament TV. Christopher Gamonge wanted to raise a point with him block, which is not the case. So this is where the laws are coming from. So Christopher Gamonge was just trying to raise a point today. He was quoting the Constitution, trying to get to his point, but he was blocked. So for me, I believe the leaders are listening. Let them just do a fair play. Take a democratic, dispensation. Whoever takes the day, fine. We have got no problem with Mount Tampa takes the day, but the thing is, let them at least try to listen to both sides, so that by the end of the day, they might not, surprise the other camp. What is happening now is just some camp focus. It's not making sense. Even as the chairman can tell today, even the convention itself that Mount Tampa went, looking at the law, yes, you can make Mount Tampa claims to pay in whatever income they report you, but by the end of the day, if we continue using, fake laws to get good, we are state now, it's not state. That's not healthy. We need, Democrats where somebody can come up and say, no, guys, yes, last time what happened was wrong, but this time we'll follow the law. Let's do what is right. But if we continue sitting on the past, saying, no, we are it was wrong, then it's not even fit to record the House of Legislation. So I believe let them just do the right thing, so that by the end of the day, tensions are not there, because if this thing is not handled well, it can escalate. It's not everywhere in the public domain. In the past, you can lie to say no. But today, the social media, live platforms, everywhere, people are able to judge and see what's happening. So my contribution is that let the legislators, the law, whatever, sort out this thing in a unique way, so that by the end of the day, whoever is right takes the big thing. That's my contribution.
Thank you very much for your contribution. I think, Kozi, we have gotten enough feedback from our dear viewers for today. Do we need to pick one more last caller before we play a recap and wind up?
We will see if we can get our last call, but I would love to just see if I can get to read some of the messages that have come through on our Facebook page. As you might be aware, if you are not able to call us via phones, you can get to our Facebook page and leave your contributions there. We have quite a number that have come through. Boniface Mwanza says from Luansha, why is the speaker behaving like that? Let the speaker know that that is not her mother's house. We don't want these people to put our mother Zambia on fire. Thank you very much. We appreciate your contribution. Tondo Toroshi says, watching from Solwezi, and I found it difficult to understand the behavior of our leaders in PF. They always fail to follow rules and regulations. I found it to follow the rules and the regulations when they are out of order, they blame the speaker. So my request to those who think the speaker is not doing it right, follow Parliament very well, and those MPs too. Thank you very much, Mr. Matondo. We really do appreciate your contribution. We have quite a number of them, but due to time.
So this is how we will end up for today. What we'll do is that we are going to play a recap of that story to leave it to our viewers so that they can just get acquainted with what transpired in Parliament. But this has been an exciting program. We had we started with the Health Corner, looked at how the Kwacha is performing. It's still at 21 and 22. 21 on the selling part and 22 on the buying part, 21 on the selling part, 22, and that's against $1. So, and we also went on to have an interview with an author and talking about issues pertaining to the reading culture, on the need for us to embrace the reading culture. And we went on to zoom in the headlines, and we're looking at the topic of the day, where we were asking our viewers about if at all Parliament is living to the aspirations of the people. So now this is where we have to call it a day, Cozy, and this has been myself, Patrick Soko, and Mako Kwakozi, until tomorrow when Prudence Trotter comes back on this set with Business for Breakfast. But this is where we have to call it a day, and we'll leave you with a story in Parliament.
The 1st November 2023, the Zambian Parliament was tense as the rivalry between the Patriotic Front, Edgar Lungu, and Mao Sampa camps continues to widen. Before business could commence, Luapula constituency Member of Parliament Chanda Katotowe was in a near punch-up with PF President-elect Mao Sampa. Mr. Katotowe was compelled to leave the House by the Speaker of the National Assembly, Nelly Muti.
Honorable Member for Luapula, leave the House now. Turn to the left, go this way. Turn this way. Walk. Can you walk and leave the House?
Moving on, the Speaker began by rendering ruling in a matter where Pampashe constituency Member of Parliament, Ronald Totera, on the 26th of October 2023, raised the point of order challenging why Matelo constituency Member of Parliament, Mao Sampa, was in the House despite being expelled from the party. And in a ruling, the Speaker stressed that Mr. Sampa was in order to enjoy the benefits of a parliamentarian, as the interpretation of the matter is a preserve of the court.
Here indicated by the Constitutional Court in the Chishimba Kambwili case, the interpretation of the Constitution is a function of the courts. In view of the foregoing, I do not have the jurisdiction to do that. I thank you.
But this did not sit well with PF members who continued to raise concern with Shuangandu constituency lawmaker Stephen Kampyongo and his Kamfisa constituency counterpart Christopher Kangombe challenging the decision.
Under Article 74(2) of the Constitution, the opposition party with the largest number of seats in the House shall elect a leader of opposition from amongst its members of the opposition party. And therefore, Madam Speaker, in line with this, on behalf of my colleagues, we have netted this election to give effect to that announcement you have made.
Order,
and therefore, we don't recognize it.
Order. Honorable member for Shuangandu, please. Can you please take your seat? Reference to the matters that you earlier mentioned. You may proceed.
Well, Madam Speaker, I was basically building a point leading to my urgent matter. And like I indicated, I quoted two provisions.
I've guided, Honorable Member. Proceed and state your issue.
Madam Speaker, there's a way in which I would want to raise the point.
Honorable Member for Kamfinsa, I have guided.
This is a democratic country, Madam Speaker. We should be allowed to speak. We should be allowed to speak. Madam Speaker, why are you preventing me from speaking? This is our country. We all belong to this country.
Honorable
we should be allowed to...
With the growing tension, the Speaker was forced to suspend business for 10 minutes.
Order. Honorable Member. Honorable Member for Kamfinsa, out. Then you leave the House. Leave the House now. The Sergeant at Arms, can you make sure that you clear the House? Clear the House. Security, please, can you help clear the House?
Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
I advised earlier, can we maintain order and respect ourselves? If you want to go and fight, you can go and fight outside, not in the House. I will not allow that.